Hi, and welcome back. It's Linda Raynier. Today, we're talking about a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and it's all about how to deal with being overwhelmed as a high-achieving or sometimes overachieving working mom. Now, being an ambitious, career-oriented, and motivated working mom myself, someone who actually works closely to guide and coach other high-achieving career moms, I completely understand the level of overwhelm, anxiety, and exhaustion that comes with trying to do and be it all while also raising a family. In the last few years, I've become a mom myself to now a 3-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. And I can honestly say my approach, the way that I am a parent to my children, as well as the way that I carry out my career is highly, highly reflective of the lessons that I've learned up until now. And these are things that I want to share with you. First of all, I want to say that there is absolutely nothing wrong with being career oriented and motivated and determined and wanting to achieve more for yourself and your family. In fact, I know that for me, I'm career oriented and motivated and determined because that in a way makes me a better mom. If I'm able to have a sense of purpose outside of my role of being a mom, that just makes me feel more whole. And I know that a lot of high achieving career moms out there that I work with feel the exact same way. But here's the kicker. If you are constantly feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, anxious, stressed out on a consistent basis, then this is your sign to turn inwards and really understand the root of why that is, because it just simply means that you are currently emotionally and energetically imbalanced. So today we're going to talk about identifying the root of your ambition. And that comes from asking yourself, why is it that even though I'm able to achieve more and I'm constantly achieving more for myself and for my family, that I still feel not satisfied and empty inside? And when I'm talking about achieving more or in a sense overachieving, it's this deep innate need to consistently achieve more in the sense of financial security, in the sense of taking on more responsibilities, taking positions, just not because you truly want them, but because you feel that you need to do that to prove your self-worth. It's also about constantly seeking approval from your boss, from your coworkers, and also consciously and unconsciously looking and wanting to acquire bigger and better things for yourself and your family, even though after you acquire those things, you don't feel satisfied. And so if this is happening to you right now and you're in a place where you're feeling empty, lost, stuck, and overwhelmed, then it's time to turn around and ask yourself, where is this coming from? And there's a strong likelihood that this cycle, this pattern of being the way you are was developed very early on, likely in childhood. I grew up in a family dynamic where I was made from a very young age to feel not worthy, to feel not seen for who I was, to feel not very valuable, to feel not very smart, to feel that I wasn't at the same level as other people. I felt not accepted for who I truly was. I felt consistently criticized. And that led me down a path of consistently wanting to achieve more, to do better, to prove myself to others, to really try to control the narrative of how other people saw me so that I could feel a sense of self-worth and self-value within me. And if you resonate with this, just know that you're not alone and there are other working moms that feel exactly the same way. For example, on my website, I offer intuitive career therapy sessions, and one of my recent clients shared with me that she is actually in a very high level in her career, very successful career-wise. However, when it comes to her feeling good about herself and where she is from an internal perspective, there is definitely a sense of lack there. There's a sense of emptiness because no matter how much she strives to achieve more and more, it feels that it's a never-ending cycle. And deep down, she does not feel truly satisfied. And for me, I felt this way for a long time, and it resulted in me going on a multiple years long journey where I really had to do the hard work. And now I'm in a place where, if I'm being completely honest, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to my career, I do feel that I've reined in that overachieving aspect to myself quite a bit. And there is a deep-seated sense, for the most part, we all have our bad days, but for the most part, there's a deep-seated sense of peace and ease that I did not experience ever before. And so the strategy that I want to share with you today that has worked really well for me, but is very deep and is very intense at times, is a strategy that I call revisit the little girl inside of you. And what I mean by that is taking yourself back to a time where you can recall your earliest memory where you felt unseen, not valued, not heard. For example, for me, I actually recall a memory when I take myself down this path. I recall a memory where I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was standing in front of the full body mirror in my parents' house, and I had just changed into my day clothes. So I was wearing jean overalls, pretty baggy jean overalls, and then I was also wearing a white big baggy sweater underneath that. I had a bowl haircut and it was uneven. And I remember looking at myself, and at the time I was just, whatever, it's okay. This is what I'm dressed in and that's fine. But I remember turning around, and I lived with extended family. So there were adults around me. And to be honest, I can't even recall specifically who said what, because they were all kind of sitting around the table, and they looked at me, and right away, I was provided with criticism about the way I looked. I was made to feel small. I was made to feel not worthy. I was made to feel that the way I was, as I was not acceptable. And that stuck with me. And that, along with other similar instances that sort of poked and prodded at me, my character and the way I was in different ways, led me down this path where I consistently felt this strong urge of always having to prove myself, always wanting to control the narrative of how others saw and viewed me, and wanting to feel more than how I actually felt inside, which was not feeling like I was good enough. So when I look back on that memory now, and I recall that now, I don't feel the same level of pain and discomfort, because the acknowledgement of that incident and the understanding of what happened there and how it led me down a path to where I am now. Now that I've come full circle to understand that, there is less of that desire or need to prove myself to others, because what I'm now in a place of feeling is more centered and connected and understanding of who I really am, and that those experiences don't define me. And so for you, it is really important to take this step, if you're open to it, to revisit the little girl inside of you and let her know through a healing lens that whatever happened there was not your fault. Whatever happened there was not defining of who you were. Whatever happened there is not who you are now, and it doesn't have to be. It no longer has to have a hold on you. You no longer have to allow that to stay within you. You can release it. You can understand it, embrace it, heal it with compassion towards yourself, and allow it to go. You have to remember, the key to this is that whoever said what or did whatever they did to you, it was through their own pain that occurred. They were operating through their own pain from their own programming, from the way they saw themselves. Their pain had to be offloaded onto someone, and unfortunately, you happen to be the target. And so when you can come to this place of true understanding and I'm not talking about just logic, I'm talking about through feeling your way through the pain and then being able to understand all aspects of it, is when true healing can happen. And here's the thing about overachieving and not realizing the root of where all of this is coming from, is that it can have an impact on your children. They will feel what you're feeling. In some way, shape, or form, that energy will leak out. Even if you have the biggest smile on your face, even if you try to hide it from your own children, in some way, shape, or form, it's going to come out. The worst case scenario is, of course, that they take it on and children are so sensitive. They are very receptive to our energy. And that's actually the way that they perceive the world is through their energy, their emotions, because their brains are not fully developed. So all they can do is feel, and they're very strong in how they feel. We have the filter of our brains to actually filter out some of our emotions and ignore certain feelings. But at the very young ages, especially, they don't. And if you don't want that cycle and pattern to continue onto your next generation, then it's very important to do the work to turn inwards and to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Who is that little girl inside of me? What is she trying to say? What is she reminding me? And what can I do to heal her? When you can change the way that you feel at a level of your state of being from a healthy, connected, centered, understanding, self-loving place, that is going to have a ripple effect in all areas of your life, not just within your family, but also in your career, also in your relationships, in your personal life, with your relationship with yourself. And it's going to ensure that when you connect with your children, it's coming from a heart-centered place. It's not coming through the lens of overwhelm, exhaustion, anxiety. So here's my practical homework for you, and I would love to see it if you can please share what you've gathered in the comments. Revisit the little girl or boy inside of you and identify the earliest memories where you felt not seen, where you were made to feel less than, where you were made to feel not worthy, and to come from a place of understanding and to really work through the painful emotion and then let it go. If this is something that you would like to be able to dive in more about, I actually do offer intuitive career therapy sessions, and that is on my website in the link down below. Feel free to check it out. I have full trust and faith that this video will reach the working moms that it needs to reach. And I actually plan on making this a mini series. So next week, we're going to be talking all about being an overwhelmed working mom and what that means for your expectations. We're going to talk about removing painful expectations. So if you enjoyed this, again, please let me know in the comments, subscribe, like the video, and I will see you in the next video.